What do you know about Anne Boleyn? Did you know she was the second of Henry VIII's six wives and mother to Queen Elizabeth I? Did you know that her story is one of love, loss, and survival? Anne Boleyn's reputation has been debated for centuries, but there's one thing we can all agree on. Anne had a great spirit and an unwavering determination to make her own way. But what was her love life like? It's a subject that hasn't been examined as extensively as other aspects of her life until now. In this video, we're going to take a closer look at Anne Boleyn's romantic life. We'll discuss her tumultuous relationship with Henry VIII, her various admirers and rumored lovers, and the lasting legacy she left behind. Are you ready to learn more about this iconic figure in history? Let's dive in. First love, Anne Boleyn and Henry Percy. It comes as no surprise that Anne Boleyn, who was famously married to King Henry VIII, had a rather interesting and complex love life. Let's take a look at her first love, Henry Percy. He was an English nobleman and the son of the first Earl of Northumberland, and according to historians, Percy fell head over heels for Anne. The two were so in love that when King Henry VIII initially learned of their relationship, he had them separated after realizing it posed a threat to his ambitious plans for the monarchy. The only historical record indicating their romance is a letter that Anne wrote to Henry VIII after he had forced her to break up with Percy. But despite the short duration of their relationship, its effects were long-lasting and seismic enough that even the powerful king was threatened by its potential. Second love. Henry VIII proposes to Anne Boleyn. Little did Anne Boleyn know it at the time, but she would soon create one of the most iconic love stories in history. In 1526, King Henry VIII became smitten by Anne and was determined to marry her, even though she had already refused two of his proposal attempts. Eventually, he decided to appeal to Anne's sense of loyalty, promising that if she accepted his offer, her siblings could benefit from the power and patronage of the Tudor court. And so, after years of wooing and courtly love, Anne finally accepted the king's offer of marriage. In typical fashion for that era, their relationship was far different than today's romantic relationships. Henry was largely unaware of Anne's physical desires, as was expected at that time and politically expedient since he needed a male heir to keep his throne secure. But despite their lack of companionship, they were both passionate about making their union successful and starting a family together. Although it may have seemed strange in comparison to today's standards, Anne accepted Henry's proposal with open arms, and the two were married in a lavish ceremony at Whitehall Palace on January 25, 1533. Despite the bumps along the way, it managed to last for 3 years before coming to an end in disastrous fashion in 1536, when Anne was executed for alleged treason, but not before giving England its second queen in its history. Quickly married, but not quietly so, Anne Boleyn and Henry VIII moved quickly after the annulment of his marriage to Catherine of Aragon. In January 1533, they were secretly married in a private ceremony at Whitehall Palace. As soon as the marriage was official, Anne was formally announced as the king's wife on a public stage at Greenwich Palace. On April 1st, 1533, she was crowned Queen of England, even while Catherine of Aragon still lived. It seems that their relationship only grew stronger from there. It is well known that Henry fell madly in love with Anne. Taking her everywhere, he went and involving her in all aspects of public life, something previous royal women had never been allowed to do. While they were always seen together in public and surrounded by courtiers, it is rumored that their private moments were even more intimate, full of unbridled passion that kept Henry under her spell for years. Their relationship had a rocky start, as all relationships do, but in the end it endured for 7 tumultuous years until Anne's execution. While we may never know exactly what happened behind closed doors between Anne and Henry VIII, one thing is for certain. Theirs was an extraordinary love story that left an indelible mark on history. The tragedy of miscarriages and stillbirths. When it comes to Anne Boleyn's love life, many often overlook the tragedy she endured with miscarriages and stillbirths. Whenever a woman is barren in a monarchy, it can easily be perceived as an act of treason or heresy. While many contemporaries attributed her miscarriages to God's judgment, the truth is that Anne experienced a great deal of heartache and pain. Henry VIII despair. Henry VIII was no stranger to grief during his marriage with Anne Boleyn. He watched his beloved queen suffer through at least 3 miscarriages and 1 stillbirth during their stormy marriage. Although he always expressed his love for Anne, even during her low points, he could not bear to stay around much longer after her 4th pregnancy ended in a stillbirth of a deformed son. Anne's sad endings. Anne endured heartbreaking losses in 5 pregnancies throughout her lifetime. 2 viable embryos were lost in 1534, another miscarriage occurred in January 1536, and 1 stillborn was delivered on 7th September the same year. Her 5th pregnancy ended with her execution at the Tower of London on 19th May 1536. Yet another tragic ending for this once powerful queen. No matter how much she wanted to live up to Henry VIII's expectations as mother of his heir, fate denied her that honor. Knowing that she had no more children left to give him sealed Anne's destiny, as well as ending their tumultuous relationship for good, and ultimately leading to her tragic passing. Re-examining Anne Boleyn's legacy and love life. Anne Boleyn's love life is one of the most intriguing and oft-times misunderstood components of her legacy. Despite the fact that she was married in a time when marriage was primarily a business decision, Anne Boleyn was never short of suitors. It can be difficult to ascertain which tales about Anne Boleyn are true and which are romanticized fiction, but we can take what we know to paint a picture of the young queen's particular brand of love, a passionate love affair. Historians do not agree completely on whether Anne was actually in love with Henry VIII or if it was simply a political alliance. Some believe that Anne's love affairs before him, especially with Henry Percy, demonstrate that Anne harbored genuine feelings for her lover since she risked much to be with him. Moreover, letters between Anne and Henry document their ongoing relationship, which suggests an emotional bond existed between the two. So it certainly seems like they were in love, but perhaps not as deeply as one might imagine given their turbulent marriage. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe our channel.